Hey, let's talk about a huge story here, the atmospheric rivers hitting our area. I was really glad that over the weekend we had
a break.
I know, we had some areas of dry.
Yeah, we didn't get a lot of rain on Saturday and Sunday, which is great because I talked about this last week. When we go into an event like this where it's, hour after hour of rain, anytime we can catch a period where there's not heavy rain, the rivers get a chance to relax. Everything gets a chance to kind of flush out a little bit, and it really decreases the flood potential, which is great, which is increasing tonight, by the way, because we won't see that much of a break in the rain. The intensity will vary. It'll at times lighten up and then at other times get heavier. It's 57 degrees. It's going to stay warm and it's going to stay windy. The wind should begin to pick up any time now. Doppler radar, we are just filled in all across western Oregon and western Washington. When I zoom out, you may think, okay, there's the end of it. That's not the end of it. That's just the end of the range of the radar. Notice how everything keeps moving into that. That's where the radar, that's as far out as the radar can see. So that's why it looks like that. And you can see that we're still getting hammered with rainfall here. 97 hundredths of an inch just since midnight today. Scappoose, very close to an inch of rain on the coast. Astoria, by the way, the rain gauge is broken, so don't pay attention to that. They've had plenty of rain at Astoria, close to Tillamook, and Hoquiam now is over 2 inches of rain. The records the next few days, today, that's in play. We could end up with 1.67 inches by midnight tonight and set a new record. Tomorrow's record is in play. I think on Wednesday, that record probably is still safe. The winds beginning to increase, but they're not bad. 10 to 20 miles an hour right now. Stronger on the coast, and eastern Oregon seeing similar winds as well. But look at the wind forecast here. This is for tonight. We should begin to get gusts of 35 to 40 miles an hour at the coast, 25 to 35 miles an hour in the valley. But then look what happens. This is 11:30 tonight. We still have strong south winds everywhere, but not at Astoria. Light northwesterly winds as this front begins to push through and end the wind for a bit, and then it bubbles back up, and that's when the rain is going to bubble back up as well. So the flood watch continues for all of these counties here. A flood watch means that conditions are favorable for flooding to occur. It doesn't mean it's happening, but it means watch because it's likely that we're going to get some floods in this area, and then the wind advisory until tomorrow morning for the wind I was talking about. Now, here's our accumulated rainfall from tonight. Well, for tonight, basically from 6 o'clock until midnight. That shows another 72 hundredths of an inch, which, of course, would get us the record for the day if we get exactly that much. Now, here's the satellite imagery with radar superimposed. Looks like, a big wet mess, right? And it is. But look, this cloud line extends thousands of miles out across the Pacific Ocean and comes into the northwest. The problem is, if you want snow, we're on the warm side of it. We've been on the warm side of it. You don't get to the cold side of it until you get up to Whistler and points north, which is why we're just not getting snow with this pattern. The jet stream's super energetic. Look at this. And again, we're on the warm side. See that the core of the colors, that's where the winds are strongest, and those are upwards of 175 to 200 miles an hour. And there's another strong jet stream coming across the Pacific. And again, we stay on the warm side of this. It bubbles north of us. So think of that as a boundary between the colder air to the north and the warm air to the south. And we are in the warm sector for sure. And of course, the wet sectors, the heavy rain is going to continue overnight tonight to the tune of, by tomorrow, another inch or two in the valleys. And by the time it tapers off later Tuesday night, Wednesday, another maybe 5 inches up on the mountain. Warm day, though, 57, Portland way above average. Pendleton, the warm spot at 61. We are at 57. Temperatures won't drop out of the 50s tonight. It'll be a very warm night again. On the coast, we got more rain out there, of course, and the flood watch continuing for Portland. Heavy rain and windy tonight. We may get some gusts of 40, 45 in the valleys. And the weather impact alert continuing through Wednesday. Then the rain turns to showers on Thursday and some dry time Friday and Saturday. We keep the warm temperatures, which, is nice unless you want it to snow. But it does begin to dry out late in the week.
Okay, thank you so much, Matt.
Sure.